ensure that the next generation is not sitting here talking about the same issues that we are. So I thank you, honestly, for all being here.
My name's Jasjit Baveja. I'm the Director of Regulatory and Industry Policy at the Medical Technology Association of Australia. My role is really to work with industry, government, regulators and other stakeholders to ensure that the policy and the environment is such that Australian patients have access to safe, effective and innovative medical technologies. I work across a number of areas, but over the last 12 months, a core focus of mine has been women's health. And that included the inaugural MTAA Women's Health Medtech Summit. The reason we focused on women's health and the summit was that we saw an opportunity for Medtech to really have a role in increasing our engagement with women's health and improving outcomes for women. It was also an opportunity to bring different stakeholders to the table, those that don't normally come together and talk about challenges. We had everyone from clinicians, researchers, industry leaders, investors, advocates, the national regulator, government stakeholders, and of course the patient lived experience. And they looked at women's health through a medtech lens. And what was interesting is that it doesn't matter who it was, they were all describing different parts of the same problem. And that's why the summit was called Breaking the Silos, requiring everyone to come together to form solutions because no single stakeholder can solve this alone. The discussions also went well beyond reproductive and sexual health. We covered the entire course of women's health and all of the conditions that affect women exclusively, differently, and disproportionately. The main outcomes were delayed diagnosis, gaps in clinical evidence, design choices both for women patients and women surgeons, innovation and reimbursement challenges, looking at the regulatory landscape. But the strongest outcome was a shared recognition that women's health is no longer a niche area. Along with the healthcare impact, there is an economic impact, a workforce impact, and an innovation impact. The summit reinforced the challenges that we have. 25% more time is spent by women in poor health or disability than men. This is equivalent to almost 9 years per woman. 6% of private healthcare capital is spent on conditions affecting women, despite women representing 51% of the global population. 1 in 3 medical device trial participants are women, again, despite being half the population. 700 plus diseases are diagnosed later in women by an average of 4 years. 5% of clinical trials report sex disaggregated data. This reinforces a default male model that overlooks how treatments work for women. These stats really show that medtech has an important role to play right across the life cycle, from diagnosis, access, treatment, and the models of care. There was strong support to move from conversation to action, and MTAA has committed to playing a part from a medtech perspective. We will form a women's health policy group to develop a white paper to identify barriers, opportunities, and policy recommendations. We will also continue to engage with the relevant stakeholders to make sure we get this right.